Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Chisler. I wish this video was on happier news, but many of you are likely aware of what's been happening with the state of the game come New Age. I won't really go into the details. There have been dozens of takes on this from various members of the community already, such as Misusing TV, MapleBinch, Sacrix, the Oreclo Game Brothers, Xeron, and so on. If you'd like to bring yourself up to speed on the situation, I'd recommend checking out videos from any of those creators. They all have really good talking points and they all share their own views into the situation. The reason I wanted to create some commentary with this video is to share my take on this situation and how it affects my count. I feel like I have a slightly different view at it as a endgame reg server player, so I wanted to share my thoughts into it. First, as a reg server player, that means we have access to the Frenzy Totem. Now, one of the reasons why my content has admittedly been pretty dry over the last several months is because I've been spending as much time as I possibly can grinding for level 285. I really wanted to focus on getting to Carcion as soon as possible so that I could start working on other content that I had planned, and that by grinding up to 285 for New Age, I would be able to fully take advantage of all of the new content coming out while being able to focus on content creation on the side with new tutorials, new bossing guides, a new liberation journey with the Corsair, things like that. So I've been spending all of that time grinding my butt off, and a lot of that has been in thanks to Frenzy Totems. The change with Frenzy Totems is that they're no longer going to continue to affect the map that it was used on after the caster leaves the map. Previously, when a Frenzy Totem was cast in a map, the Frenzy effect would stay for exactly 10 minutes before it would disappear. If the Frenzy Totem is then cast again before that 10 minutes ends, the effect would continue indefinitely, or continue on for another 10 minutes, sorry. It would refresh the timer. And this would go on and on and on and allow people with Frenzy Totems to cycle dozens and dozens of maps within that time limit, allowing for creating a training meta around the Frenzy Totem. This change to it no longer affecting the map after the content or the creator leaves it is based off of what we've seen from Sacrix in the test server. He says that with being able to bring a Frenzy Totem into the test server and test it out there, that it's true that the maps no longer have the Frenzy effect on them until the caster leaves the map. So basically what that means is that if anyone in Reg server wants to train on Frenzy Totem, they either A, have to own their own totem and use it, and B, or B, pay someone with a Frenzy Totem to sit in their map and constantly recast them. I can't confirm if this is actually the case until the final version is released with New Age, but that's what we have based off of the information we have now. Now, of course, that also creates an issue with the instanced maps coming to Grandis, in that Frenzy Totem just doesn't work in them at all. All Grandis maps, supposedly even with a Frenzy Totem, aren't affected by the spawn enhancers due to the way that the game is set up and imported from KMS. Admittedly, from my end, since most of my grind is complete, I'm well on my way to 285, I'm getting pretty close. The community has always kind of been preparing for Frenzy Totem to eventually get nerfed. This discussion of Frenzy Totem not working in instance maps has been around ever since instance maps were first introduced in KMS about 5 months ago. So admittedly, this didn't really come as a big shock to me. I figured that this was going to happen eventually, and that I would still play the game without a Frenzy Totem, and eventually daily story my way to 285 to experience Carcion and what comes afterwards. So that part didn't bug me as much. It does bug me a little bit, don't get me wrong. What really gets me with this update is the sudden change to a new subscription-based model for the 6-job materials capping. It's less about how they implemented it with the booster pack, but more so just attempting to use the model in the first place. I'll be honest, if there was a booster pack that removed the daily cap and allowed people to grind, I would buy it. Not necessarily with my own money, but as a free-to-play player, I have access to make mesos, buy maple points from the maple market with money I've used from bossing and other sources of in-game income to then buy this cap removal and honestly not really think twice about it. But instead, with the model the way it is now, we're just completely barred from grinding at all. So I'll show you why this specifically bugs me so much. Ever since we learned of material farming from KMS, we knew that drop rate greatly affects the income of these materials. We also knew that needing to spend about 400 to 600 hours to grind out a maxed hexamatrix, even off a frenzy spawn, would result in a lot of meso income as well. Many people took note of this and started preparing farming gear. Here is my Shadower's inventory. Close to the top corner, I have 9 legendary equips that all do not have inexpensive potentials on them. To maximize my income when grinding for my Shadower's 6 job, and eventually for my other characters, like my hero and my Corsair, I prep this gear to make the process as quick as possible. I have 1 piece with double item drop, 5 pieces with hybrid meso and item drop, and 3 more pieces with item drop on them as well. All of them have their remaining lines filled with percent luck or all stat to boost my damage as much as possible. All of them have also been starred to 21 stars, with the intention of 22 starring them in the next Shining Star Force event. So this process was not cheap. Through the several months I have spent building and prepping these equips for New Age, it has cost me approximately 200 bill in Bara mesos, which, if it were to be converted to American dollars, works out to about $1,000. And that's $1,000 worth of mesos that I worked hard over the last several months only for Nexon to pull the rug out from under us and make that essentially worthless. All of that effort was for nothing because the system does not allow for grinding. It does not allow for catch-up. All it's going to do is let me cap my remaining 400 soul errata energy a few minutes faster than the rest of the population each day. And to me, that's not worth the amount of money and effort I've put into prepping for what we were thinking we were getting with New Age. So that's the main reason I'm upset. Not for Frenzy getting gutted, which, okay, I'm a little bit upset about that. Not for their little booster pack introduction for people to pay for an advantage, but for their sudden change in a system that many players have spent the last 6 months spending time and resources preparing for. That's what frustrates me so much. So, what am I going to do about it? Truth be told, I'm still going to play the game. I have been playing it free-to-play for the last several years, and I intend to keep doing that. I'm going to do my daily 6-job quests for the symbols and capping Soul Erda, and I'm going to do my weekly bosses, and that's it. There's no reason for me to do anything past that. The other issue I'm going to have is that me and my wife are planning a trip to Vietnam next year that'll last for a month, so I guess I'm just going to be behind for a month when I get back from that, with the lack of a catch-up mechanic. Some people have suggested that I move to Hyperion and start over, but all that really does is just delay the time frame of facing the problem. There's no solution to leaving behind what I've worked to achieve when I'm eventually going to have to encounter this same situation when I get a new main to level 260 in Hyperion. So I'm gonna have to max there anyways, why leave behind what I have established now? So now there's no reason for me to grind anymore. There's no reason for me to continue investing time and energy with a gaming company that has no regard for their player base. I have not recently spent money on this game, and I will continue to not spend money on the game into the future. That includes buying the booster pack, even if I can do it within in-game means. That just means that I'm paying for mine out of someone else's Maple points, which of course goes right into Nexon's bank accounts. With the trend of #Don'tSpend going around, I'm going to encourage you all to do the same. The best way to let them know that you're not happy is to hit them at their bank accounts. So let them know just by not giving them your money. Don't buy anything. Do something similar. Do your bosses, do your dailies, get your Soul Erda that they're allowing you to get, and then go do something else. So, what now? What about me and the channel? Well, truth be told, a lot of that depends on how New Age plays out. The news lately has taken a lot of wind out of my sails, and the energy and motivation I had to keep grinding and playing the game has mostly petered out. It's hard to justify making content for a game with a company that has no empathy for their player base. If these systems are going to be implemented as currently planned, I'm probably going to take a hiatus from YouTube to explore other games and other hobbies that I've had to give up to invest so much time and energy in MapleStory. If the daily Soul Heir to Cap is removed, I'd probably keep posting content like my loot room videos and my upcoming Corsair's Liberation journey, as, I mean, that's an improvement, but it doesn't exactly ignore the fact about how much Nexon disregarded the voice of their player base. And if for some reason that hell freezes over and Nexon really opens their eyes and fixes a lot of the problems that have been going around lately, I'll probably start making guides and bossing tutorials as I had originally planned going into New Age. So honestly, we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds. If you're still around at this point in the video, thank you for listening to me vent my frustrations. I'm grateful to have a lot of friends and a great community to play the game and share content with, and I hope the best for everyone as we move into a new age of lackluster content. I wish you all the best in whatever path you choose to take, be it with MapleStory or elsewhere. But for now, this has been Chiseler. Goodbye and good night.